Hi, this is Shane Starr from home today, about to have a wonderful fruit fast breakfast. Today I'm only eating this for my meal and kind of cleansing my system in preparation to start the new year at a weight that is acceptable for my standards. Anyway, I just watched a World Socionics video titled 5 Signs You Are Not an ISTJ. And I watched it with an open mind. Great video. And again, it leaves me stumped as to how anyone with my characteristics wouldn't be that type or similar to that type. So I'm thinking, I know there's confirmation bias. I know nobody wants to go back on their typing, except for me, of course, right? But I'm thinking about traits, and I'm thinking about, once anyone decides on a type, again, with myself being the exception, it doesn't matter what traits you introduce to the equation, they will reinterpret it in such a way as to be working with that type. Case in point, Shane, you are an ESFP SEE. Okay, what about my church attendance haven't missed? Is that an ESFP thing? No, it's not, but an ESFP could do that. What about my degrees in philosophy and religion? Are they interested in philosophy and theology? No, but it could be you're just a very exceptional type in that matter. Okay, what about attention to detail, conscientiousness, punctuality, OCD traits, cleanliness at home and at work? Those things can be, that can be strong SE determination. Or it doesn't matter what you say. Jesus Christ could appear and bring up these points, and somehow, some way, it'll all lead back to that original typing. I don't really like that. And as I said in a recent video, I tried so hard. I even went public on a video and said, okay, I'm giving in, here it is. And then it's like either be laughed at by the typology community or be laughed at in real life. Neither one is especially attractive, but if push comes to shove, I'll take the respect in real life over the respect per agreement of the typology community. So let's say everyone's right. Let's say I'm right about my traits, because I know I am. And let's say in the system that I admire being model A, that really is my type of model A. Okay, I can't make sense of it in practical terms. So let's just say on a theoretical level, that's right and okay. Instead of arguing against that directly, as I've already kind of, jumped around at, I'm looking at other metrics that deal directly with one's traits, with no excuses, no deep explanations, metrics that businesses actually use, like the Big Five, the DISC assessment. These are traits-based categories and results-based per data. Are you punctual or not? Let's look at how many times you've been late. Now, from a socionic standpoint, well, you've never been late in 8 years, ever. Wow. Well, an SEE could be that type of person. No. You're either late or you're not. Say someone who always is late, but it's because they have a child. No, I have a child. If you're never late, you're never late. And you find a way to make it be the case. You fit into the category of never being late. That's all there is to it. And if you are late, no one cares what your excuses are. These are traits-based assessments. You look at what really is, not, the reasoning behind. You still could be this, and we'll come back to that again and again later. So today, let me back up. a week ago, we had an academy class where they had us take the DISC assessment. And I already took it on my channel a while ago. I'm pretty sure what type I was. And on at my workplace, I scored very highly in one thing. You know, the funny thing about the DISC assessment is in a room full of about 40 people, I didn't hear a single person say, no, that's not me, I'm really this other way. No, everyone was like, yeah, it makes sense. Why? Because we're just going by evidence, what you are, not what your motivations deep down inside or any of that wishy-washy pie in the sky stuff. No, we're talking about pure data. Okay, so we're going to take the DISC assessment today. I'm going to go over it. If you're not interested, that's fine. This is for self-therapy, perhaps more than anything else. But I want results that are grounded in measurable, verifiable behaviors and data per evidence on timesheets, performance reviews, not, yes, you're structured, but this is because you're trying to be structured, oh, but I'm not supposed to value structure, remember? None of that. So let's go with some evidence-based stuff and see what we get. Okay, the Truity DISC assessment. Now you can purchase these. My work, they did the actual DISC one, but that one costs money and it's Christmas time. We're trying to save. So let's take this test and see where we're at. Wow, that's a lot of tests taken. 6,543,156 tests. That means, although some of our gurus might call a test like this trash and not real, 6.5 million plus other people might beg to differ. Okay, so here we are. In each pair, mark the circle near the word that describes you best. If neither word describes you equally well, mark the circle in the middle. Open versus skeptical. I'm open to hearing anyone, but I'm a little more skeptical. I'm definitely not way over here, but I'm definitely not in here either. I'm going to go with that. I try to be open, like recently in the time, like I try really hard, but eventually I come back around to my skepticism. Cheerful versus methodical. Again, an ESFP here. Has anyone mistaken me for Dear Kristen lately? That whole thing? I didn't think so. I'm very methodical. You should see me at work, even worse than now. Reserved or dynamic. Now, I'm supposed to be dynamic, but anyone at work would probably put me over here. I'll put myself here. The most outgoing I am is on these videos that I'm doing in my room by myself or at a lunch table by myself every day. Not the dynamic people person that 4-dimensional FE would have you think I am. Okay, bold versus humble. If I was bold, I'd be going for promotions more, even when my bosses are telling me to. I wouldn't put myself way down here. I'm going to go right in the middle on that one. I think I'm more on this side, but yeah, actually, I'm going to go there. I know that there's people smarter than me. The very people I'm disagreeing with in this video are probably smarter than me. I know some of them are for sure, but that doesn't necessarily make them right. Okay, generous or strict. I'm generous when it doesn't cost me anything, but I'm going to put myself here. Lively or systematic. Again, you guys, when you think of, an SEE or ESFP, you think lively. Do you see a bunch of graphics or a bunch of jumping around or any of that in my videos? Do I have like an animated voice that goes up and down? One of the criticisms on my performance review is that I can be robotic at times. I'm not that lively person. Now, again, I guess anyone could be anything, right? But when we're talking about traits that verify or falsify a conclusion, I think we're in the wrong place there. Okay, obedient or outspoken. Everyone likes to think they're outspoken. I'm more on the obedient side. I'll obey and then complain about it, so I'll put myself over here. Modest or challenging, same thing. I will follow directions, follow the rules, but when I disagree with the rule, I'll still follow it, but then I'll tell someone else, like, hey, I don't think this rule is rational. We should go in a different direction. Okay, next step. Helpful or resolute. I want to be helpful, but if I'm busy with something, I'm going to take care of what I have to take care of. But I'm not unhelpful. Once in a while, I'll interrupt myself. I'll just get back to the task at hand as soon as I can. Enthusiastic or accurate. Now, see, I work with someone who's enthusiastic. I'm certain that she really is an ESFP or maybe an ESFJ. I still haven't made up my mind. And it depends whether I'm thinking in MBTI or socionics terms. But I'm, when one of the things that we had this SpongeBob discussion at work, and we were talking about like the whole ESFP versus ISTJ thing. Everyone's like, dude, you're not SpongeBob or any of those guys. You're Squidward 100%, like, and so, I care about accuracy. My title is in logistics. I'm not, hostess or host or whatever. Compliant or enterprising. Now on this, again, I'm supposed to, 4-dimensional SE and FE. I'm supposed to be over here, right? But I'm not. I'm compliant. I'm not trying to get promoted. I'm not trying to start a side gig. I'm not some entrepreneur making waves or anything. I work from 9 to 6 every day religiously and do what I'm told. Gentle or direct. I'm more direct. I try to frame things in a nice way and be a good listener. That's why I'm not going to put myself way over here, but I'm on that side. Accommodating or firm, same thing. I try to be accommodating, but I'm more firm. Playful or analytical. I can joke here and there, so I'm not going to go way over here. I'm not, Elon Musk or something, but I'm over there. Tactful or expressive. I limit my expressions at work. My expressions are basically limited to my YouTube videos. So I'm going to go over here. But on a one-on-one conversation, I can be here. But in any kind of public environment, I'm going to be like over here. But I'll put there overall. Even-tempered or tough. I'm probably more, I'm going to go right in between. I can't, I can be tough when I need to be. I try to be this way, but I have to say no to people a lot. And, but you can tell people no and do it even temperedly. So I'm going to go in the middle there. This video is taking longer than I expected. Accepting or matter of fact. My recent videos are proof that I've tried to be accepting, but when the data is hitting me right in the face, I can accept myself that I messed up and ate a medium round table pizza by myself 2 weeks ago. But when I got on the scale the next morning and saw that one pizza cost me 2.8 pounds, I don't give myself a break. I'm more matter of fact. I'm not going to be way over here because I aim for this, but I fall back to that. Optimistic or perfectionistic. That's my nickname at work. I'm going all the way in on that one. I'm the guy who will tell you all the reasons your plan won't work. Yeah, perfectionistic. Quiet or charismatic. It's funny how people it's funny, like, again, ESFP, SEEs, they're supposed to be charismatic. If I'm so charismatic, where's all my followers, right? I mean, I have like 4 people who regularly watch my videos, and I have less than 100 subscribers. If I was charismatic, wouldn't I have a little bit more to show for it? Imagine me trying to prove that I'm that type, saying, yeah, dude, I'm really charismatic. And you'd be going like, I don't know, bro, I'm not seeing it, right? Come on. I'll give myself a little charisma because I dress sharp, but I'm more on that side. Obliging or assertive. I'm not self-assertive, but I'm protective of my boundaries, and I'm assertive when it comes to enforcing policies and procedures. Trusting or questioning. Again, I tried to be this. I even pretended to the point where instead of bringing up, problems, I go along with it, and then only to myself later I'm like, no, that was wrong. I'm over here. And again, I tried my best, fooling others and myself probably, but ultimately, water always finds level ground, right? It runs downhill, not uphill. Eventually, I can stretch this way, and then it snaps back to over here. Lighthearted or precise, I aim for precision. Whether I get it or not, that's what I do at work. That's what I do with my home decorating. That's what I do with my clothing. Everything must be precise. I would mark a circle over here if I could. Cautious or adventurous. You'll never see me jump out of an airplane. You'll never see me, do anything crazy. I don't even surf now because of the sharks. Okay. Receptive or decisive. Well, I haven't been decisive on my typings, have I? So I have been receptive. At work, though, I'm way over here. On my YouTube videos, I'm over here. I'm going to go over here because in every aspect of my life, except for this typology stuff, I've been way over on the other side. Okay, we're getting close. Agreeable. Like me or not like me, I have problems with people. Daring. Like me, not like me. No, I'm not daring. Sociable. Definitely not like me. Dominant. I think I'm more dominant than I think I am. Like I would put myself here. Other people might put me over here. I'm going to go in the middle. Patient. I am getting more and more patient, but I'm not quite there. I'll put myself in the middle. I've been better about being patient in traffic and being patient waiting. I mean, if you were to snapshot today, I would put myself here, but over the history of my life, I'd be over here. So I'm going to go in the middle. Soft-spoken. I mean, you haven't heard me cuss people out on this channel or anything, right? And I'm more outspoken here than anywhere. So I'm going to say, yeah, I'm pretty detail-oriented. That's my job. They pay me, a well-known company in Southern California, perhaps the best one in real estate, pays me a good salary to be detail-oriented. That's who and what I am. Competitive, I can be, but I'm not trying to beat out other people. Again, 5 years ago when I was a leasing agent, I was trying to be competitive, but I'm not in leasing anymore because ultimately I realized that wasn't for me. I'll put myself in the middle. Okay, we're getting close. In a group, I'm likely to speak up or stay quiet and listen. Even in my videos when I'm discussing with people, I'm more agreeable than, I listen. I speak up after the fact, like a lot of self-proclaimed introverts like myself do. But in the moment, I just sit there. On a team project, making sure people are, this is a joke. Like, this is supposed to be like 4DFE or something, right? Like, I'm so much over here that you could throw that answer in the trash. I'm most comfortable taking command to make a decision or letting others make a final decision. If I could pick one or the other, if I could pick in between here, I would. I take command when it calls for it. Man, my apples are starting to not be white anymore over here. I don't like that. I better hurry up, huh? Okay. I'm most comfortable probably. Yeah, I'll go with that. I like making decisions. When giving feedback to someone, I focus on letting them know they're appreciated. No, I'm going to tell you like it is. I'm most attracted to work I can do alone. Yes. I don't like working with other people. I try to say that. It's like all these guys, except for Eric with typing with famous people, all these guys like want to put me as an extrovert. When I tell them, like, dude, I'm a lone wolf. I do it alone. Oh, but extroversion means all these other things that 99% of the real world's like scratching their heads going, huh? Okay, it has nothing to do with people, right? That it's okay, whatever. When someone presents a plan, I'm more likely to, I'm that guy. Send my results to this email. Shane Avery Star. And yes, that is my real name, at gmail.com. I've been called a robot, but I don't think I am. So let's see. No answer, get results. What type am I on the DISC personality? Clarity. Efficient and methodical, orderly and perfectionistic, enjoys working alone with well-defined tasks. It's real funny. Guess what? That's what my performance reviews have said for the last 3 years. Those same things. I'm efficient, I'm methodical, I'm orderly and perfectionistic, but I need to learn how to work with people more and be more social. Okay? It's like that's observable data. If anyone wanted to challenge me on this result, you can argue socionics with me and I'll give you your points, whatever. But on something like this, the evidence says it. That's what it is. Okay, so clarity, it stands for C, conscientiousness in the DISC assessment. So if this were a socionics typing or even some MBTI typings, it'd be like, well, you can be efficient and methodical and still be a influence type. Well, you could be orderly and perfectionistic and still be a dominant type. They would be making all these excuses just to stick me in the one box that they wanted to put me in, I think my biggest takeaway from this is we can use these kinds of results, unlike the typology ones. We can use stuff like DISC to help us make career decisions. Given these results, I was right to leave any kind of sales position. I should stay away from those like commission-based roles and move forward with where I'm placed now in logistics. That's audit compliance, analyzing data to optimize our apartment systems, policies, procedures. These things maximize my company's net operating income. And, when you can do that and do it in a structured way, you also end up having your residents being satisfied. So this kind of stuff, it works in real life. It looks cheap. All the experts will say, oh, this is trash. This is 16personalities.com stuff. I've gotten more out of the 16 personalities trash than I have a lot of other things. And that so-called trash is based on the Big Five, which is the most well-respected personality assessment in the psychology community. So, at least it has that. Anyway, that's all I have for today. If you got this far, thanks. Peace out.